Okay. Cameron. I up whatever.
I want to make sure closing.
So the flowers are here and they're reflecting. Cameron's representing.
Okay. Then
Yeah, so they can find that on their way. So and it
okay,
right.
perfect. Then there's going to be refreshment.
Yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
perfect. Thank
Joel
you.
can get you set up.
Yeah, sounds great.
Gift Body Memorial Program. I'm Dr. Rob Hillard. I'm chair of the Department of Pathology and Anatomical Sciences here on the Joplin campus. Before we begin, I'd like to thank several individuals who have helped out the Gift Body program this past year. I'd like to thank Felicia Harris, the Gift Body coordinator. Her diligence and hard work makes this program possible. So thank you, Felicia. I'd also like to thank Whitney Gilmore. She's the Joplin Anatomy Lab coordinator and manager. She does an excellent job as a caretaker for the cadavers. Now, this is a special day, a celebration of life, a reflection, a time to pause and remember. I'd like to directly praise the donors for their gift and thank families and friends here to celebrate these individuals' lives. Now, the gift provides insightful training for future physicians and dentists. Throughout the year, students' gratitude grows as they begin to appreciate what has been given. Ultimately, the skills and knowledge which is gained helps save lives. Now, in medical school, I was fortunate enough to have a cadaver program similar to KCU's, and the anatomical relationships that I was to learn were very helpful in my medical career. So again, thank you and welcome. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Mark Hahn, President and CEO of Kansas City University. He has been leading Kansas City University successfully from 2013, and under his leadership, we have added multiple additional programs to the university, including the College of Dental Medicine in 2023. Dr. Hahn's leadership has been key to guiding Kansas City University into the future with a vision and has included support of Joplin's Gift Body program. So here is Dr. Mark Hahn.
Hello, I'm Mark Hahn, and I'm proud to be the president of Kansas City University. Thank you for joining us today for this very important anatomical memorial service. On behalf of Kansas City University, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to the donors and their families. Your loved ones understood in life the profound difference they could make to the study of medicine upon their death. Their selflessness and generosity has made a truly meaningful contribution to the education of our osteopathic medical students and dental students. You'll be hearing a little bit more from our students later in the program about what these donations meant to their learning and their development as future physicians and dentists. Kansas City University is proud. We're proud of our history with this body donation program. We have one of the longest operating anatomical donation programs in the nation, dating back to the early 20th century, soon after the founding of this university. Our ability to continue this important tradition over many years is also a result of the dedication of a number of individuals on our campus. I want to thank our faculty, our anatomy staff, the anatomy fellows for helping to ensure the ongoing success of this program. At this time, I'd like to turn the ceremony over to Dr. Josh Cox, our Executive Dean of the Kansas City University College of Osteopathic Medicine and Vice Provost for Medical Affairs. Once again, thank you. You and your loved ones have made a difference in the next generation of physicians and surgeons, as well as dentists. Now, Dr. Cox.
Good morning. Again, thank you all for joining us today. Family, friends, students, faculty, staff, fellows, thank you for being here. I'd like to give a quick shout out specifically to our faculty, staff, and fellows. Their dedication to teaching and research in the anatomical sciences is quite apparent and appreciated. mission-critical pieces of what we offer at KCU. Taking a look at the words of gratitude that were flashing on the screen a few moments ago, provided by our students, and considering some of the remarks of our students that will be speaking to you live today, I'm quite perfectly clear that they will be able to articulate it more effectively than I can. But that being said, I would like to say a sincere thank you to the loved ones of all of our donors that have joined us today. Your loved ones have been our silent teachers. We're here to reflect on that, celebrate them, and honor their memory. The donor body program is mission critical, and it's truly under-recognized sacrifice that's made. Even in death, they remained committed to serving others. That's a humbling thought to consider. Our team recognizes that, and our students, many of that have joined today for this ceremony, recognize that. This critical role they have played in the education of our next generation of physicians will have a high-level direct impact on our students and their patients for many years and generations to come. So with that, thank you with much respect and appreciation. At this point, I'd like to hand the microphone to Dr. Ken Hiles, the campus dean, who also has a few words to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. And good morning, everyone. I too would like to extend my gratitude for you taking time out of your busy days to be here today. In Thailand, medical students refer to cadavers as Ajamyai, which means great teacher. The donors, your loved ones, served as unparalleled educators, teaching human anatomy, empathy, and humility to the physicians and dentists in training. The experience our medical and dental students receive, thanks to your loved ones, is something they will never forget, including serving as their first patients, which is something I know I've not forgotten. Some of my fondest memories and some of my first memories revolve around the anatomy lab and the donor body I was assigned to. In addition to the knowledge they received because of their great teachers, many have also developed the long friendship with their fellow students. They shared anatomy and their assigned body donors. It is the ultimate gift that your loved ones have delivered, and we are forever grateful to the donors and to the family and friends for sharing this gift with our students. Thank you for sharing your loved ones with our medical students and dental students' education as they pursue their dreams.
Next up, I'm proud to introduce a musical selection performed by the Notochords, a student-led music group of Kansas City University.
Hello, my name is Andrew Woods. I'm a first-year medical student here at KCU Joplin.
And I'm Preston Snyder. I'm also a first year here at KCU Joplin. Me and Drew are the president and vice president of Notochords for next year, and we're going to sing a song for you by Pink Floyd. It's called Wish You Were Here.
We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl, year after year, running over the same old ground, having found the same old fears. I wish you were here.
Now we have Zach Brown, a current first-year medical student and the president of the class of 2028, followed by speeches by 3 additional individuals: Simran Allluck, an anatomy fellow, Heather Sams, a first-year dental student, and finally, first-year medical student, Susanna Gregorian. So first up, Zach Brown.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for being here. As the SGA class president here in Joplin, I have the honor and privilege of being able to express my gratitude on behalf of our class. Today, I'm standing here, though, not as a leader, but as one of the many students who stood around a steel table this year and learned from these gift bodies, overwhelmed by both the humility and the wonder and the sacrifice. It only feels right to tell you about my personal experience in the anatomy lab this year. When I started in the anatomy lab, like many others, we had our expectations. And when I entered the lab, I met my new lab partners, and together we met someone who would become very special to us, our donor. As we began, there was a variety of different backgrounds and experiences surrounding the table. Some of us had been in a lab like this before, and some of us, this was our first experience. We all came in with many expectations and different ideas about what we might see and what we might learn. But for me, and for so many of us, the experience was more profound than we ever could have imagined. These donors, your loved ones, they were our first patients. Yes, they taught us anatomy, the muscles, the vessels, the nerves, but they also taught us the importance of presence, respect, and what it means to place your trust into a stranger. They remind us that the practice of medicine begins not with a diagnosis or prescription, but with reverence and with humility. We saw many things in the anatomy lab this year, and while I may not remember every single structure that we learned, I will never forget how it felt. I believe every student left that lab with a fuller mind, but also with a heavier and more grateful heart. To the families that made this choice, thank you doesn't seem like enough. But I hope you know that as we saw your loved ones, we saw them not as an anonymous donor, but as a teacher, a guide, and as a person. They are imprinted on our memory, and they will be with us in every patient that we examine, every moment we pause to remember our training and why we chose this path into medicine. This experience isn't something that we'll just carry on for these exams. It's something that we'll carry into our lives and into our careers. It's something that for me, I hope I get the opportunity to be thankful and to thank them in person one day. So on behalf of our class here in Joplin, thank you. And thank you for your loved one's gift. Thank you for your strength. And thank you for reminding us that healing begins with grace. We promise to honor them always.
To the ones who donated their body so we can learn, thank you. There are no words big enough for the kind of gift that you gave. You didn't know us, you never saw my face or heard my voice, but you still chose to give us something so sacred. I held your heart in my hands, but I'll never know who it beat for, who it broke for, or who it loved. I studied your brain, but not the memories or dreams tucked inside of it. I've seen every vessel, every muscle, every delicate detail that made up your life here, and still your name was never known to me. But I thought about you more often than I expected. I wondered what kind of life you lived, what your laugh sounded like, who missed you when you were gone. And then I realized that your final act told me everything I needed to know. That you were selfless, that you believed in something bigger than yourself, that you wanted us to learn, to understand, to be better. You led us into the home you lived in while you were here on this earth. You let us learn through you. And because of that, we'll carry pieces of you into every patient, every diagnosis, every life we try to help from here on out. You were my first real teacher in medicine. And somehow, even without words, you taught me about compassion and sacrifice and what it means to leave something behind. I don't know how to repay a gift this big, but I promise I'll carry it forward in how I treat others, in how I show up, and in how I never forget what you gave. Thank you for your courage, your kindness, and for trusting us with the most sacred part of you. On behalf of my class, we honor you. We are forever grateful, and we will carry you with us always.
Hello, everyone. My name is Heather Sams. I am a first-year dental student here at KCU. I want to start off by saying I had the incredible privilege of experiencing anatomy in a way that I know not many students get to. Before anything else, I want to express my deepest gratitude to the families who made this learning experience possible. Thank you, truly, for your selfless gift. I'd like to share a moment that specifically stood out to me early on in this semester, one that has stayed with me throughout my journey. I want to share that I'm married and I have young children, which gives me a unique perspective compared to some of my fellow colleagues. And I just want to preface with that. One day specifically, when reflecting on the journey that I had, my group was assigned a male donor, and he was with us throughout the whole year. So we spent countless hours with this gentleman. I remember studying the anatomy of the hands specifically that day and holding this gentleman's hand in my hand. And I thought, this gentleman probably held his wife's hands on their wedding day, just as I have held my partner's on mine. And I also thought, this gentleman probably cradled his children on the day of their birth, just as I have cradled mine. Having experienced those two very life-changing moments, I felt a sense of connection and respect for this gentleman and the life that he lived and the generosity of his gift. So thank you for allowing us to learn from your loved ones. Their legacy is helping shape more compassionate, skilled healthcare providers. I'm confident that this experience has made us better and that better not only as students, but as future practitioners. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is student Dr. Susanna Gregorian, and I'm honored to represent the College of Osteopathic Medicine class of 2028 in expressing our gratitude to the families here today and their loved ones who we've spent our first year of medical school with. I'd like to tell you a little about myself and why I feel so lucky to be here speaking to you today. My first studies of anatomy began prior to my time here at Kansas City University. I received my master's in anatomy at the University of Southern California, where I spent countless hours in the lab, both learning and teaching anatomy. It was there that I was expected to work on a donor body for the very first time, and if you'll allow me, I'd like to read an excerpt from my journal about this encounter. She was cold. As I held her fragile, aged hand, I could feel the topography orchestrated by the peaks and valleys of her anatomy. I couldn't help but to think of it as a shrunken map upon her fist, a map of the world in which she once lived. Broadening my gaze, I began to regain where I was. The room stood still with air so frigid, I nearly began to shiver. Filled with noise, yet I could hear my own heartbeat, the room was as quiet as it could have been. Her name was 2734. Though that is all I knew of her, in time, she would undoubtedly teach me more than she would ever know. As I stood in the anatomy laboratory, I let go of her hand just as the glacial pearl of sweat left my brow. Not only do I attribute my knowledge of anatomy to her generosity, but my since acquired grasp of what it means to be human. She taught me more of life than I had yet lived. She taught me all without a word spoken. We begin the course, my lab mates and I huddled together, peeping curiously as we were introduced to the donor we would be assigned for the year. As the instructor unzips the body, we can't help but to be excited. This is our first moment in the journey towards medicine, and we can't wait to get started. The excitement, however, quickly settles as we begin to realize that this is not a textbook or a mannequin or any lecture we've had before. This is a responsibility that we are now faced with, a responsibility to respect and fulfill the wishes of our donors to learn from their bodies. And it is not just their bodies that they have granted us, but their generosity towards our patients in the future. Every patient we treat should know that their care would not have been the same if it wasn't for what we learned from our very first patient. This undeniably selfless act earns them the title of donor, not cadaver. You may think that the anatomy lab is where we begin to showcase our surgical skills, but in reality, it's where we learn to control our thoughts and emotions. We enter believing that we should detach from our emotions, detach from the thought of working on a figure akin to ours, and forget the idea of being human. I've come to understand in due time why this was perhaps the largest mistake I had ever made in my education. I now realize to forget is to neglect, and how could a physician readily neglect the species they spend a lifetime learning about in order to heal? At times, it is difficult to detach from your emotions, even if you try to. I have found myself imagining the numerous hands that must have felt her once warm body, the doctors, nurses, friends, and family she must have encountered. Did they address the warmth of her undeniable human self, or were they just occupied with treating symptoms in yet another patient? Did they remember to celebrate her birthday, ask of her late husband, or offer her favorite meal? Many times have my thoughts consumed me. Many times have I had to remove myself from the lab, and that is okay. My encounters in the anatomy lab have taught me that it is making sure to never forget that you are working with another human, alive or deceased, that will make you a good physician. Though we may excel in academics and have hours spent in practice, the moment we forget to care for mankind is the moment that we fail. From that point on, I have made a conscious effort to remember the word human instead of trying to forget it every time I walked into lab. It is the same mentality that I wish to employ every time I step into a patient room as a practicing physician. And for this, I have only the generosity of all the donors I have had the privilege of working with to thank. Thank you for what you have given me. Thank you for what you have given my future patients. Thank you.
As the chair of the Department of Pathology and Anatomical Sciences in Joplin, I stand before you today with profound gratitude and reverence. I am forever grateful for the contribution and sacrifice bestowed upon us, gifts that have enabled us to teach and our students to learn and grow into physicians and dentists. Through the selfless generosity of these donors, we have gained invaluable insight into the human body, enhancing both our understanding and our compassion. We recognize that each gift represents a life lived, whether a parent, a sibling, or another beloved one. It is not lost on us as faculty or students, the depth of trust placed in our hands. To give one's body for the advancement of medical knowledge is the ultimate act of service, and we honor that service today. Let us carry their legacy forward in our work. May their generosity inspire us to approach our studies with humility, to practice with compassion, and to serve with integrity. In doing so, we ensure that their gifts continue to enrich lives for generations to come. A couple of notes as we conclude. There is a thank you certificate for each family up front. Family and friends are welcome to take a flower and a reflections booklet in the back, and please sign the guest book. Lastly, please join us for refreshments that are available after the service. Thank you so much for coming for this time of remembrance.